Hey guys, in this video, we'll be going over the new best way to loot outposts completely solo after the recent changes. Pinwheel is now harder, but the loot got substantially better, so I'll tell you what I do, and after explaining it, I'll show you some gameplay with some commentary over it. So, without further ado, let's get into it. To get the loot, you'll need a couple of things. For starters, you'll need 3 red master keycards, which you need to open the main loot room inside of Pinwheel. There are 4 on the map, so it might seem almost impossible to get 3 of them by yourself, but surprisingly, the master keycards go pretty much uncontested in solo play. Even if they aren't, you can hunt down the person who has them, as they are likely going after the same thing you are. They are guaranteed spawns. One of them is in the east on top of this building in dormitories, another in a pocket around here in processing, another in a long catwalk to the west, and the last on top of a roof here in flight control. Next, you need either 2 green keycards or a special item named the conveyance request. Green keycards are found everywhere. On a desk, on a chair, in the toilet, I don't even know. You can spend 2 of them to turn on one of the 4 terminals surrounding Pinwheel. Doing this will spawn a wave of enemies, and after defeating them, you can activate another terminal here to spawn yet another wave of enemies. After defeating them and waiting for a barrier to go down, you can climb up to Pinwheel. Entering Pinwheel this way alerts all other players that Pinwheel has been broken into, which means you will fight some people up there, if you haven't already from all the noise the gunshots made. Because of this, I prefer to do it the other way, with the conveyance request. There's only one of these in the whole map, but its spawns are limited to processing and flight control. I would recommend memorizing the spawn locations to make sure you get the key. Once you do get the key, you need to head to this small building in processing. In there is a terminal that you can interact with as long as you have the conveyance request. Doing so will slowly lower a platform from Pinwheel, which will take you up. And when I say slowly, I mean it's really slow. You can see how vulnerable I am on the platform from this clip. Yeah, it's bad. Make sure to be careful, as it's not uncommon for people to be camping this spot or just see you while you're going up, as it makes a lot of noise. Once you fully reach the top though, you are free to explore Pinwheel by yourself without any notification to anyone else. Now let's talk about what the 3 red keys are for. In the middle of Pinwheel, there's a locked room that requires 3 master clearance keys to unlock. You'll need to clear some ads to get there, and when you open the door, a whole bunch more will spawn. I think around 4 purple shielded enemies spawn, along with a bunch of blue and green shields. Because of this, it is incredibly difficult to do this run with a random kit, and I recommend bringing a weapon yourself, like a boldy SMG or a waster shotgun. Just something decent enough to take out enemies, and also bring a lot of ammo. I like to bring 5 stacks of whatever I need. Anyway, once you take out the enemies, you can open the door to the loot. In here are 2 pinnacle strongboxes with some amazing loot, and you are pretty much guaranteed to get at least a couple of gold things. On the counters are also a lot of good valuables, and on the edge here, from what I have seen, seems to always have a cryo archive key of some kind. You'll likely not be able to take everything unless you bring at least a green backpack, so I recommend you do so. Once you've looted everything, you should leave. You can do this by going back to where you entered in Drone Wing, hitting this button, and riding the platform back down. Now you just want to exfil. You can either activate a guarded exfil and fight the mobs, or if the last master clearance card miraculously hasn't been taken, you can take it and use it to activate a restricted exfil, skipping the fight. That's basically the entire run. Simple, right? Just do that and you'll be swimming in golds and purples in no time. Now I'll show you one of my runs and commentate on it, basically showing you my thought process and basically how all of this plays out in a real game. Alright, so I load into the game, and the first thing I do is I look at my map, because I want to know where the nearest master clearance card is to me. I ping it and I make my way over there. Once I get to the master clearance card, I activate it, and while I wait for it to finish, I'm listening for other players. I want to know if there's someone around me that I should be worried about. I then head for the next clearance card, and along the way, I check one of the conveyance request spawn locations, but unfortunately, it's not there. I grabbed the second red key, and now I'm going to head through processing to try to find a conveyance request, because that's the way I'm going to try to get into Pinwheel. I luckily find it pretty quickly, so my next goal is to find the red key card out on the catwalk to the west. I grabbed the third key, and now I'm going to try to be a little bit greedy and grab the fourth, so that I can activate a restricted exfil when I want to leave. But on the way out of the catwalk, I actually noticed someone under processing that I want to be a little bit wary about. This guy is actually going to become very important later on because he's going to try to ambush me when I try to get onto the lift. You can see me here try to spot him again, but I noticed that he closed the windows, which notifies me that he probably knows where I am, and I also make a mental note in my mind that someone is camping there. I do successfully get the fourth key without any problems, but now I have to confront the guy who's camping in the little building, because that's where I have to use the conveyance request to activate the lift. I'm actually able to surprise him and kill him, meaning I can lower the lift from pinwheel, letting me enter. I hop into drone wing and then I loot this strongbox here before I head to the middle of pinwheel. Here I take out all of the starting turrets and some of the enemies before I go and unlock the red door, spawning all of the main enemies. I then finally walk into the loot room, and this was actually my first run, so I had no idea what to expect, but I was incredibly impressed. I found gold weapon mods, and I found a gold key for South Relay in Perimeter. In the end, this is all the loot I got. It's pretty crazy considering I went in with just a blue shotgun. Now I decide it's time to leave, so I ride the lift back down, and here's where that fourth red keycard comes in handy. You see, on Outpost, there's only two different exfils that can spawn, the guarded exfil and the restricted exfil. The guarded one requires me to fight a whole bunch of mobs, which I can do, but that'll alert a lot of players to my location. On the other hand, there are only 4 red keycards on the map, and I know that I took all 4 of them, so I can spend the last one on a restricted exfil and not have to worry about other people being there, because nobody is going to try to exfil there. So just like that, I walk into the exfil and I'm out. I've got a whole bunch of good stuff. I got a gold keycard, I got a purple keycard to cryo archive, and I also upgraded a whole bunch of my weapons and got a whole bunch of good cores and implants. So yeah, that's basically how a somewhat optimal run will go. I've been using this strategy to get many gold keys, including the one I got during this run, and cryo archive vault keys. If you want to see more guides like this, feel free to subscribe, but with that being said, DestinyVerse out.